tell me not to waste my money on the PDP primary. That Wike had raised the stakes to $30,000 per delegate, 30,000 times 774 delegates. Of course, if you were to sell my family from first generation to the last generation, there was no way I was going to come up with that. And even if I could come up with that, I will never waste it. So you could hear Wike saying on your program, just before the primaries, on your program, Sheung, when you asked him, so what do you think about the new entrants like Dele Momodu, and he just wait, who is Dele Momodu? That was where our trouble started. What I expected of him was that if you are not going to support a man, if you are going to run a fair race, and then let's leave it there. I wrote a letter to former Attorney General. Yes.
Let me ask you, what caused all of these furore and led to personal attacks is a question mark on those of you who are leading the opposition coalition. The question as to whether or not some of you have the credentials of the message of the gospel you are preaching right now to Nigerians. You're saying you're looking for a new Nigeria. You are bringing back a Nigeria that is different. But what is the credential of some of you, and those of you who have you not apparently, because you have not been in power, those who have been in power for several years, and he's questioned those who have not really had the requisite experience and capacity. The big question is that the ABC, the opposition coalition, and those who are leading it don't have what it takes morally to lead Nigeria at the time. That was a big question Mr. Wike was asking all of you.
Mr. Wike did not know what he was talking about. How you are able to manage people and resources. If you look today, you want to tell me that Peter Obi has not managed people and resources? You want to tell me that Atiku Abubakar has not managed people and resources? I mean, that would be unfair. So, if you look at those caliber of people and you rubbish them as doing nothing, I knew, for example, when Atiku was vice president of Nigeria, and now the economy was managed at the time, and the quality of the young men he surrounded himself with in Aso Rock, I used to go there in those days. And by the way, most of them were from the south of Nigeria. It's unfair for Wike to come here. What has Wike done in his life? If he ever practiced, he would have been a charge and bail lawyer if he ever practiced law. Charge and bail.
Mr. Momodu, let's take a moment. I'd like to know, because it does look like you favor Mr. Atiku. Think Atiku Abubakar is the biggest and the nicest gateway for the opposition to be able to defeat Bola Tinubu and the APC in 2027. But I need to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll get your closing thoughts on the ADC and the opposition coalition platform has to offer Nigerians. You are of the opinion.
And I never said that. I said the best choice would be my candidate, which is what I expect obedience to say, which I expect those who are supporting and making to say. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm looking at number one, the numbers. This game is a game of number. And the people who are most aggrieved today are from northern part of Nigeria. And if you listen to Wike very well, that there is no southerner today. The only one who could have attempted it is Wike. And since he's already supporting Asiwaju, is not available. So the moment you see people waging a campaign of calumny against Atiku, you must know they feel threatened about Atiku. Even my brother, who is about to come on now, I listened to him a few days ago appealing to Atiku to come and join Tinubu. But they all know how formidable he is since 1993, when he stepped down from an adopted father who sadly died on this day in 1998. Since then, the man has been pursuing his ambition without having any state governor to give him money. He's been running his business, investing in education, investing in agriculture. For me, in front of Atiku's house, Atiku will never call us, and Daniel was there to come and tell him how we can find someone in that. The people that I believe should lead the coalition. It will be, and as a Democrat, I'm appealing to them. I hope they'll be able to do it democratically, so that they will not say, oh, they forced one person on them. Let them all vote it. So that is my belief, and I don't think there is anything wrong with that. Only certificated Mandarin people will go against such an arrangement, and I'm happy that the coalition is fully ready and prepared. It's a movement this time, unlike the APC. You know, when the APC started, a handful of people just left a few political parties and came together. But this time around, it's a movement. You can see the way the tsunami is starting already. I'm very proud.
Yeah, thank you so much to be able to run this country right. I'm very sure that you watched that interview. And a lot of Nigerians who perhaps will nod in the positive to what Mr. Peter Obi has said. The credibility in running the affairs of this country in terms of cost of governance and the empathy that Mr. Peter Obi says is coming lax.
You know, I watched the interview. What I still find intriguing is that this coalition of internally displaced politicians have not been able to summon the courage and come with alternative facts, alternative policies, alternative programs. Throughout the interview you had with Peter Obi, what I find, and you ask him very salient questions relating to policy, to governance, to specific issues of governance that we have applied or we're applying. He has not, throughout the interview, been able to controvert or to counter or to disagree in the real sense of the word with the policy subsidy. He said he will remove it, and that what we did was not in an organized way, and he will do it in an organized manner. You ask him again, what do you mean, or how do you explain what is in the subsidy? When you remove the subsidy, you remove the corruption. When you ask him a question about how to fix power, he said he will fix it, it's not rocket science. You say, okay, he should explain it. He said Egypt did it in 5 years. You ask him, okay, how will you explain it? He said, Sherwood is not rocket science. What this is talking about? And all the places where he said empathy was their contact, their understanding, they have not mobilized the Nigerian people in any respect. What they do is the minute there is a crisis, they issue press statements. So their greatest strength in opposition is issuance of press statement, but without a definite plan of what they will do. And you see what, Dr. Shaw? Everything they have been talking in the last few days that they will do when they take over power, we're already doing it. When you ask him question about investment, he said he believes in production and not in consumption. You ask him how will he govern Nigeria, he said he will invest in education. Okay, we're already investing in education. We have 300,000 people, indigent members of the society who have access school because of the funds that is provided. We have invested that in human capital development that he talked about. And you see the increase of the minimum wage. You have seen living conditions, workers across Nigeria being touched. Meanwhile, when he was a governor in Anambra, it was during his from 35,000 to 75, and for medical up to 125,000. That led to some people pulling out of school and some people unable to finish. There were strikes during his time as governor. In fact, when the university went on strike, he sacked the vice chancellor. It is during his time as governor that the hospitals in Anambra had to go on strike because he could not provide a good living condition for the medical people. And he started persecuting the people, preferring mission schools over government school. This is the same Peter Obi in our climb and in this generation to wake up one morning and come up with an idea like a clap of thunder out of his as if the Nigerian people are children. So whenever I listen to them about what they want to do, they have not been able to come up with it. Look at our policy, for example.
Let's take some of the issues one after the other. Right. There are litany of criticisms against this government in the wake of its 2 years anniversary or marking its 2 years in office. Mr. Peter Obi's comments are just one of those commentaries. But first, Mr. Peter Obi raised the issue about empathy. People died, and the issue about Mokwa, for example, and how the president is not being able to go on the ground. He said if he's elected president, he will go on the ground to such places. It says that kind of situation, wherever it is in the world, leaders will go on the ground, on the ground in that place. He mentioned the issue of people dying and the commissioning of both station. by the president. He says that is insensitive. He spoke about even the issue in Benue. The president could not go right to Yawata. The president only stayed in Makodi. These are the issues about empathy. And any leader who wants to lead the country, from Mr. Obi's reference, it should have empathy. Does it look like this government doesn't have concern for empathy for citizens?
Very dark man has more empathy than Peter Obi. He's not a politician, but he was in Benue. Why does he have to wait until he becomes a president before he gets to Benue? Why will he wait until he becomes a president before he will demonstrate? Empathy is personal and it can be public. So him as a person, where
principal did not go there. Why is it that your principal? Is there any reason why the president couldn't go to Yawata, couldn't go to Mokwa, and they are commissioning bus stations when people have died in the same, when soldiers are being buried?
So one thing about leadership is you have so many things and you have to prioritize them. If the president were to be physically in Yelwata, would he have made the differences he was in Benue? You see, some of this rhetoric of Peter Obi and by extension the opposition is neither here nor there. It is because they lack basic things to talk about as far as governance is concerned. They go to talk, okay, because if he was not in Benue, they will say he didn't go to Benue. Now you went to Benue, why didn't you go to Yelwata? The shifting of goalposts is one of these elements you find in these internally displaced politicians. How many of them are gasping for power now? About 7 of them. Who among them has gone there? Go to England, go to America and see the opposition, what they would have done. Secondly, Peter Obi is talking about how did he even put it about that the president was commissioning something instead of going to where people have died. If he understands the institution of the presidency, if he understands leadership, if he even knows the constitution of Nigeria, he knows that under Section 5, the president exercises that power by himself through the vice president, ministers, agency heads, and government of the federation. So anybody in this government that you see in any part of Nigeria where there is crisis, and I dare say the National Security Advisor has been going to all these places where there are crises. The military officers have been going in all these places where there are crises. The intelligence officers have been going to all these places where there are crises. These individuals are representative of Mr. President, except if he doesn't know what Section 5 is. And this is why they don't even know how to register a political party. And they started complaining. I find it very intriguing, honestly, that this element that come together under opposition have still not been fair to the Nigerian people to come up with concrete plans that they have. They are association of people desperate for power. Unfortunately for them, Nigerians know them. These people do not come like a clap of thunder out of a blue sky. We know their history. In fact, one of the characteristics of Peter Obi is falsehood, disinformation, and misinformation. Since 2023, when people fact-checked him, he has ceased saying, go and verify. So when I listened to some of the things he was saying that about 2 days ago, I felt ordinarily we are not even supposed to react to it because Peter Obi now is a non-issue, is a non-starter. Already he has considered his presidential ambition to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Now he has become a second fiddle, but he needs to fight for the vice presidential ticket with Rotimi Amechi. And from what we are hearing, they have in a backway manner convinced him that he will be director general of the campaign to lead the movement, and that when they win election, Atiku will do one term, and then Peter Obi will come back to become president. Bad way plus bad way is equal to bad way.
Let me ask you. Mr. Obi alluded to the fact that this government has run this country into more debt, and it says this government has borrowed more than Jonathan, Yar'Adua, and Buhari put together. The facts to show that, just for a moment, is that this government, in the last 1 year or more, we've seen that our both domestic and external debt had grown to about 121 trillion naira. That's way over 90 billion US dollars, and it's gone over 20%, about 24% from Q4 of 2023 to Q4 of 2024 or Q1 of 2024, and that's about 24% increase in our debt profile. And that is the
So
inference Mr. Peter Obi made.
that is false because some of his people went and asked Brooke, Brooke, that Naira devaluation, not new loans. US dollar debt actually fell from $113 billion to 97, a net repayment. Previously claims added to 97 of 94 billion combined in real terms. So Grok came out with facts to disprove the falsehood of Peter Obi that it is not devaluation that accounted to that amount he's mentioning as debt, and it is not debt. Peter Obi does not have knowledge of statistics now. There is no fact he reels out that when it is verified has not come out as false. There is not a single one. And he knows that it's falsehood, but he's happy to just throw it because he has an army of people called the obedient who normally don't use their brains in interpreting whatever he says, but they take hook, line, and sinker and run to the market with it. Look, today, I've been on social media, for the times that I've had. They have been asking Grok questions, and Grok has been fact-checking and giving them what they were not prepared for. The summary of everything Grok has been saying today is that Peter Obi has not been given the facts as they are in his allegation. The only thing Grok said that is a bit fair to him, he says that Peter Obi is somebody that is respectable. But the facts on ground don't support that. This is the point. But he's not even going to be the presidential candidate. The reason I'm out today is just to debunk that. He's not even our focus. He's not even going to be the vice president. I'm the director general of their next campaign. We will now be wasting our time and be responding to it. He has deceived the obedient because their contract with him is that he's going to be the president and now has been reduced first to second fiddle and now to the position of director general to lead the campaign that in 2031 he will be made president. So Nigerian people will know the days of sentiment that he used in 2023, religious sentiment is over. If you have noticed the thought that Peter Obi deceived, they are not with Peter Obi at the moment. Their eyes are open. Secondly, the youth that Peter Obi claimed to have represented, Peter Obi has never identified with the youth. But that are the most important thing, because what is the most important is that anybody who wants to wrest power from any policy that is alternative, everything they say they want to do, we're already doing it. So why fix it when it is not bad?
The big question right here in the debate and the reasons why the opposition coalition says they're coming together is to the fact that this government has not met the expectations based on promises made and performance that have been delivered. And I was going to also